The cafe went silent for a moment after he said it. "You're not date material." It wasn't loud, but it didn't need to be. The words landed hard, like a door quietly closing forever. Emily sat there, hands wrapped around a cup of coffee that had already gone cold, trying to smile as if her heart hadn't just cracked in half. Around her, life went on, cups clinked, people laughed, but inside her, everything felt still. What no one in that moment could see, was that someone else had heard it too. And what he thought next would change everything. Before we continue, take a second to support the channel Corner of Kind Choices. If you believe small acts of kindness can change lives, hit subscribe, like this video, and share your thoughts in the comments. Your support helps us tell more stories that matter. Emily had always been the kind of person who noticed things others didn't. She noticed when someone looked tired, when a stranger needed help carrying groceries, when a coworker forced a smile. She didn't think of it as anything special. To her, kindness was just normal. But for some reason, it had never been enough. At 29, Emily had gone on more disappointing dates than she could count. She wasn't flashy. She didn't play games. She didn't pretend to be someone she wasn't. And time after time, that seemed to make people lose interest. That night in the cafe felt like the final confirmation of every doubt she had quietly carried. Maybe he's right, she thought as she walked home under the dim glow of streetlights. Maybe I'm just not what people want. The next morning, life didn't pause to comfort her. Her alarm rang at 6:30 a.m., just like always. She got ready for work, tied her hair back, and forced herself into the routine that kept her moving. Emily worked as a receptionist at a small community center. It wasn't glamorous, but she loved it. It gave her the chance to help people every day, even in small ways. That morning, as she unlocked the front door, she noticed a little boy sitting on the steps. He couldn't have been older than 6. His backpack was too big for him, and he was holding a half-eaten sandwich wrapped in foil. "Hey there," Emily said gently. "Are you okay?" The boy looked up, a little startled. "I'm waiting for my dad. He works here." "Oh," she said with a smile. "Well, you don't have to wait outside. Come in, it's warmer." He hesitated for a moment, then nodded. Inside, Emily offered him a chair and a fresh cup of juice. "What's your name?" "Liam," he said. "That's a great name," she replied. "I'm Emily." A few minutes later, the front door burst open, and a man rushed in, clearly out of breath. "Liam. I'm so sorry, buddy, I got stuck in traffic." His words stopped when he saw Emily sitting there with his son. "Oh, thank you," he said, catching his breath. "You didn't have to do that." "It's no problem," Emily said. He was waiting outside. "I figured inside would be better." The man nodded, his expression softening. "I'm Jake." Over the next few weeks, Emily and Jake crossed paths often. Jake worked as a maintenance supervisor at the center, and Liam would sometimes come by after school. Emily didn't think much of it at first. She was just being herself, kind, attentive, present. When Liam forgot his homework one day, Emily helped him organize his papers. When Jake looked exhausted, she'd leave a cup of coffee on his desk without saying anything. It wasn't grand. It wasn't dramatic. It was just kindness. One afternoon, Liam ran up to her with a big grin. "Miss Emily. I got an A on my spelling test." "That's amazing," she said, clapping her hands. "I knew you could do it." Jake watched from a distance, something thoughtful in his eyes. Later that day, he approached her. "You're really good with him," he said. Emily shrugged lightly. "He's a great kid." Jake nodded. "He's had a tough couple of years. Since his mom passed, it's just been the two of us." Emily's heart softened instantly. I'm so sorry. He gave a small, grateful smile. Thank you. There was a quiet pause. You know, Jake continued, not a lot of people take the time to care like that. Emily let out a small laugh. It's not a big deal. It is, he said firmly. She didn't know what to say to that. A few days later, something unexpected happened. Emily was walking out of a grocery store when she saw a woman struggling to carry several heavy bags to her car. Without thinking, Emily rushed over. Here, let me help you, she said. Oh, thank you, the woman replied, clearly relieved. As they reached the car, the woman smiled warmly. You're very kind. Not many people would stop like that. Emily shrugged, a little embarrassed. It's nothing. But it wasn't nothing. Because across the parking lot, Jake had just seen the whole thing. That evening, as Emily sat alone at home, scrolling absent-mindedly through her phone, she paused at a message notification. It was from Jake. Hey. I hope this isn't weird, but would you like to grab coffee sometime? Just the two of us. Emily stared at the screen, surprised. Her first instinct was hesitation. The memory of that painful sentence, "You're not date material," still lingered. But something about Jake felt different. Sure, she typed back. They met at a small cafe a few days later. At first, Emily felt nervous, unsure of herself. But Jake had a calm, steady presence that made it easier. They talked about everything: work, life, Liam, favorite movies, childhood memories. There was no pressure. No pretending. Just honesty. At one point, Jake looked at her thoughtfully. Can I tell you something? He said. Of course. I saw you the other day, he continued. At the grocery store. Helping that woman. Emily blinked. Oh, that. Yeah, he said softly. That. She looked down, a little self-conscious. It wasn't a big deal. Jake leaned forward slightly. It is to me. She looked up at him, confused. I've met a lot of people, he said. Especially since becoming a single dad. And most of them, they're looking for something on the surface. Something easy. Something that looks good. He paused, choosing his words carefully. But you show up. You care. You notice people. You make them feel seen. Emily felt her chest tighten. I don't know what someone else told you, he continued gently, but they were wrong. Her breath caught. Jake smiled, not in a flashy way, but in a quiet, certain way. You're not just date material, he said. You're marriage material. For a moment, Emily couldn't speak. All the doubt she had been carrying, all the quiet hurt, it felt like it was slowly unraveling. Not because someone was giving her a compliment. But because someone was finally seeing her clearly. Weeks turned into months. Emily became a steady part of Jake and Liam's lives. They spent weekends at the park, cooking simple dinners together, laughing over small, everyday moments. There was no rush. No pressure. Just something real growing, day by day. One evening, as the three of them sat on the couch watching a movie, Liam fell asleep with his head resting on Emily's shoulder. Jake looked over and smiled softly. He really loves you, he said. Emily gently brushed a strand of hair away from Liam's face. I love him too. Jake's voice was quiet but certain. And I love you. Emily felt her eyes fill with tears, not of sadness this time, but of something deeper. Relief. Gratitude. Hope. She realized then that kindness had never been her weakness. It had always been her strength. And the right person didn't overlook it. They recognized it. They valued it. They chose it. The truth is, the world doesn't always reward kindness right away. Sometimes it overlooks it. Sometimes it misunderstands it. But that doesn't make it any less powerful. Because kindness has a way of finding the right hearts. And when it does, it changes everything. So if you've ever been told you're not enough, remember Emily. Remember that the right people will see your kindness not as something ordinary but as something rare. And maybe, just maybe, that's what makes you truly unforgettable. If this story touched your heart, share it with someone who needs to hear it. And don't forget, every small act of kindness you choose today could be the moment that changes someone's life tomorrow.